Hi and welcome to this video. Paper 1 questions, they always involve two criteria, which is first part plainly reciting what you've studied, the content that you've studied in each of the chapter, and the second requirement is for you to write an evaluative opinion on the topic. This is a past papers list. Once you have a good idea of what the chapter is talking about, you'd be able to make this list. And this list will be your holy grail throughout your study sessions. It is so helpful. Doing extra research really helps your essays to stand out and to show that you have your own personal opinion on subjects. But my mistake was that I wrote a lot of details down on the mind maps, and that is actually not needed. It's not necessary. That means that your work isn't really done once you finish writing an essay. You should edit it as well. Let your lecturers check and then get it back, edit it according to what you're lacking of, and then you will have the finished product. And that's how all of my 40 essays were produced. So prior to the exam, give yourself mock exams. I know that colleges, they prepare mock exams as well, but you should do your very own mock exams at home before the actual exam. So for me, I practiced writing out my essays without reference. So just looking at the question and writing the essay down. You should mark your answers after these sessions, like these mock exam sessions, to check if you don't have enough time to write everything needed. If so, find a way to shorten your essay in a way that doesn't sacrifice your marks. And also check if you left out any important part. If you do, then make flashcards for them. Make flashcards for the points that you've missed out, and then revise those flashcards one day prior to your actual exam. That's how I did it, and I found it really helpful. So there is actually another more efficient way to utilize flashcards. I will talk about that later in this video. So before the actual exam, I gave myself a total of 6 mock exams within 3 days, which means that I practiced 18 essays in 3 days. It was excruciating. I was also running out of time to revise, so I don't really recommend doing that. Definitely try doing these mock exam sessions 2 weeks prior to your exam, and if possible, space out your practice sessions as well so that you have sufficient amount of time to digest everything that you've practiced, and so that you wouldn't be in too much pressure. So personally, I completed writing and memorizing all of these 30 essays within 3 months, because for the first 3 months of my AS level, I was very lost in navigation of the syllabus. Like, how am I supposed to prepare for the exam? I was really lost. So I definitely wish that I knew sooner of exactly how to study for AS level law. So the fact that I finished everything within 3 months would also mean that if you're watching this video around the time that I'm going to post it, let's say you're watching this 2 to 3 months away from your actual paper, you still have enough time. You can do it. Unless you take 4 subjects like a lot of people do, then bless your soul. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about paper 2 of AS level. So there isn't really a lot to talk about. Actually, you don't have to do a lot of practices. I didn't really spend a lot of time on paper 2. I would say that I only spent 20% of my energy on paper 2 in the law subject. And yeah, so I guess the most useful advice I can give you is that you should practice at least 10 sets of these questions. And by 10 sets, I mean only the A, B, and C questions. For me, when I did practice questions for paper 2, I just kind of neglect question D because it's similar to paper 1. I just group them together as one bulk, and my usual revision covers that already, so I'm not going to bother myself with question D. So when you're practicing for paper 2, just practice on questions A, B, and C. It's quite fun actually, because you're just provided with that short excerpt of the statute, and then you just kind of pick apart the parts that you want to use, kind of like Legos. I'm so nerdy. So yeah, you just pick the parts that you need for each question and you just apply it. And you don't even need to hand in all of your practices on paper 2 to your lecturers for them to mark. I would recommend you to just hand in the first 3 or 4 practices that you've done to your lecturer, have them marked and take it back. And then for the rest of your practice papers, do a minimum of a total of 10 practices. That is the minimum amount, and that is a really small amount. So do the rest of the practices on your own, mark them on your own. So refer to the way your lecturer marked your answers, and then also of course add the mark scheme, and that's pretty much enough for you. Okay, so finally, we're gonna move on to A2 law. So there's something that I want to address first. I was supposed to be an exam candidate of the Cambridge A-levels of the May-June 2020 series for A2. That did not happen because of the pandemic. Our A2 exams were cancelled, so pretty much I didn't have to sit through the exam, but I did study A2 law for 4 months, so I think that I can give you some advice on it as well. So maybe if you're watching this in preparation for your AS, you can just save this video for reference later. After you're done with AS, come back to this video. You don't have to do it now, but if you want to, then hi. So since I've learned from my mistake in AS, I stopped making lengthy mind maps. It wasn't necessary at all, but instead I focused on preparing essay answers. And then after making those essay answers, I make flashcards off of them. And similar to AS, I also did a compilation of past paper questions for A2 law. And this one I did it by myself. So yeah, A2 law questions are divided into two kinds. There's the opinion writing, which is question 1, 2, 3, and then problem questions, questions 4, 5, 6. So this is the same for both contract law and tort law. I would say that question 4, 5, and 6 is pretty much like paper 2 of AS law, questions A, B, and C, except that you don't have the physical reference printed out for you. You get a reference what you've studied and that you've stored in here. So for flashcards for A2, I used the app. Is it called an app? I think it's called an app. Anki flashcards. Okay, actually I don't know how to pronounce this. I don't know if it's Anki or Anki. Some people pronounce this as Anki, and I'm like, that sounds weird. I prefer to call it Anki. So Anki flashcards, and it has a system algorithm based on the spaced repetition study method, and this study method has been proven to be one of the most effective, if not the most effective way of studying, especially for courses like law or medicine. They require a lot of your memorizing powers. You gotta store a lot of things in here, and Anki flashcards is definitely the best thing you can have if you are studying a course like that. So personally, I found out about this app through my favorite YouTuber on productivity, Ali Abdaal. He introduced this app to me, and he was a medicine student in Cambridge, and he was one of the top students in his year, so that proves a lot. So yeah, Anki flashcards is definitely a very, very efficient way of studying and memorizing facts. So I've actually only been using this app, Anki flashcard, for about a month, but I've already experienced how efficient it is in helping me to remember case names, case facts, what it's applied on. With this flashcard, it was so much easier to like kind of solidify the information and contents into my brain. And yeah, remembering case facts, case names, and all that is pretty much what A2 law is all about, and also the law degree itself. So I'm definitely going to continue using the Anki flashcards throughout my university life. So please go and learn how to use it. I'll link a video down there for you to kind of like learn how to use the app, because it is a little bit complicated. It's not as easy to use as other typical flashcard apps, but it's worth it. Just learn how to use Anki flashcards. And so in briefing cases, when you're studying law, for A-levels at least, I feel like you have to remember that not all of the case facts are relevant. Not all of the case facts are relevant for your use in the exam. And so be mindful of what is the principal help in the case that you're studying, and then match the facts that are relevant only. Include those facts only. Also try to think of how you use this case, this specific case in the essays. Then you'll realize that there's actually a lot of facts of the case that you really don't need to remember, so just kind of delete all of them off. The rest of the study method for A2 is kind of similar with AS. You don't really need to do a lot of extra research for A2 though. You don't have the time to do that. The volume of A2 law study is so much bulkier compared to AS, so make sure to be very efficient in your studies for A2 law. So instead of writing all of the possible variations of questions and essays for all of the chapters, just make mind maps for all of those variations according to the list of past papers that you've compiled. And yeah, your lecturers are going to give you a lot of like essay assignments, so that is enough practice for you in A2. Just use the rest of your time to focus on writing out the mind maps. You don't have extra time to work to write out all of the essays on your own as well. And yeah, despite that, just prior to your mock exams in your college or the actual exam itself, practice the same way that I've mentioned for the AS exam. Pick topics to practice on according to your own discretion and judgment according to the past year question trends. And then, yeah, just practice the same way. Make sure you're writing within the time limit. Make sure that you have all of the contents and information written down. And if you did miss out any points, reinforce them by using the flashcard method. Yeah, so I think that's about it. I can't think of any more advice to give on A2 law or A-levels law in general. But if I did miss out on informing on anything and you're curious about some things, you have questions to ask, you can leave it in the comment section below and I'll answer them and I'll try to help you out as much as possible. And yeah, good luck in your A-levels. Good luck in your A-levels law. And if you also take the subjects business or thinking skills, then you can look forward to my next video. I'll be giving advice on those subjects as well. If you found this video helpful for you, please give my video a like. It helps with the algorithm on YouTube, I think. I'm pretty sure it does. So yeah, give it a like to help me out and also to let me know that I didn't give trash advice and you actually found it helpful. And if you're interested in my channel, then please subscribe to my channel as well. I hope to see you in my next video. And that's about it. Thank you for watching. Bye.